Hello and welcome back to another episode of Unlicensed Therapy with me, your host, Ari Mannis. Today we have an incredible guest, Drew Lynch. And most of you have probably heard of him. If you haven't, look him up. Hilarious comedian. I think his original fame was from America's Got Talent, but now has put out a lot of viral videos and travels the whole country, headlining. One of those guests where I posted on my Instagram story that he was coming on. A lot of excitement, a lot of people, I love that guy, people who I went to high school with. Yet no one left a voicemail for him. No one called in asking for help from me or from him. I put the hotline. I know if I put, hey, type in your questions or advice that you need, I would get 100. But why is everyone too scared to call? Just leave a voicemail. Participate. I'm not angry. I'm a little just, There's a few of you that listen. You could leave voicemail. Some people are like, oh, I'm going to leave one, and then you never do. But here it is. In my intro, asking for your help. Leave a voicemail for the future episodes. Anyways, if you haven't checked out Drew Lynch, here is a clip of him.
Well, I don't think I'm that funny yet, but I'm doing well. Well, that was my show. Thank you. So pop off some local references, and I'm out. Catch the next flight to catch my next flight out of here. I tried to travel during the colder months to warmer climate because I figured that shit out. Did you just deflate a balloon? What was that? you just air out a condom? You're like, I might use it. If we're building another airport, he's going to need a windsock. Someone popped Becky. Someone get her. He said what? I really said Becky? I hate that I knew that. No comedian ever wants to be confirmed that there's a Becky. We're Becky and the bitches, and we sell balloons. Well, nice to meet you guys. I'm a fan of your laugh. Yeah. Any other weird laughs? Let's get them out right now. I doubt anyone's gonna beat broken condom, but every time Becky laughs, there's a new kid. It's weird. As twins. Well, don't try. This lady's whistling through her eyes. Like.
Pretty funny, right? Hilarious comedian. Nice guy. Great talking with him. I hope you enjoy the episode.
I'm pretty sure that you have a way harder time getting through life than the average person. single-handedly broke up my marriage. You're an awful person.
You're 24 years old. Why would I listen to you? Why would you be giving therapy and advice to people who clearly need it? It doesn't make any sense, Ari. This is a horrible idea.
You're listening to Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Mannis.
You're doing a podcast too, right?
Yeah.
Solo.
Yeah. I feel like it's so difficult to
Cooking guests.
yeah. Yeah, and I want like, I don't know, maybe just the freedom, maybe like not so much the responsibility. Yeah, it feels so much pressure to like get things together like that.
Do you do a lot of editing for it, or do you just go for an hour and then
I'll just go for an hour. If I say, it's funny because like if I say something that I feel like is too I don't know, like if I say something that I feel is like cancel worthy, which I can't imagine that exists for me. But if there is something that I say that's like, wow, like maybe too much just in the conscious thought that I had, then I'll have my assistant like edit it out. I'll just be like, I'll listen back to it and I'll just be like, that sounds weird. Might as well just not. I thought
you were going to say, if I say something cancel worthy, I'll repeat it 3 more times.
Yeah.
Just own it.
I really should, but
I don't think I don't think you're cancelable.
I think I am. I think everybody is, but
That's
like
true.
everybody is, but you just never know what it is. Like I just did like I was just doing shows with like Jill Kimmel. She's Jimmy Kimmel's sister, and like she, you know, we had a topic, we had a discussion like kind of at length just about it, and just how like intent is everything and context is everything, but being wary of what that is, and like kind of takes away from the way you're like it kind of takes away from what it is you're trying to do in the first place. So
yeah, we talked about pretty much that same thing all weekend. It's just our fears of getting canceled and what that entails and all this thing. But I feel like if you did something inappropriate, people would be like, he deserves it. Let him have it.
that's really funny.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, you know, I've known you for years, but not really know you.
Yeah.
But it's weird. You're just like famous now.
I don't know. I appreciate that, but it rarely ever feels like it's a good thing.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah, it just comes with
for sure.
It just comes with like more work, I think.
And then it's also weird because like you've been getting successful maybe the last, I don't know, 5-6 years. You'd be able to answer that better than me. But you don't, because we're all in the same world, you don't really realize it until I posted that you were doing my podcast on my Instagram, and all these people I went to high school with are like, I love that guy.
Oh, that's really funny. Really funny.
And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't realize, because I knew you know, you were doing great, but you don't realize, I don't know, it's just this weird bubble we're in LA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, people I know who he is. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I've always tried to, I don't know if you notice this, like, or if you're the same way on the scene, but like, I think I'm a very introverted person.
Yeah.
So I try to make like an additional effort when I'm out to like I would love to just like show up and do the spot and then like go do whatever and then like you know
leave, yeah.
But there's so many other comedians who like the scene itself and the vibe and like the whole the way that you kind of accessorize the scene with your personality, like it lends itself to people who are like extroverted or people who love that. And it's like, it's not that I don't like people, it's just that like I feel so, it just feels so contrived, and I always want to make that additional effort to be like just because something has happened, or for me, or just because I just did a thing, or whatever. Like I try to make that extra effort to make sure that no one is feeling like I feel like I'm better than, or I feel like I'm trying to.
Yeah, I don't know if no one thinks that about you.
Yeah,
and it's weird. And every place is different. Like the Comedy Store, you got to hang out, and the Improv, you don't. And, you know, it's just like every place has its own little weird thing.
Yeah, and with the store, like specifically, like I have so many friends that are at the store, and I hate the store. It's just like I.
You hate it, but you still go.
I know, and I still go. I'm like, why am I? I'm abused by this place. Like I'm still like. I still show up, and I'm still like that place makes me act uncharacteristic to myself.
Well, it's the only place probably in the world where, you know, you're at this level now where you're selling out comedy clubs, theaters, I don't know. You're doing great. And you go there and they're like, yeah, you could do potluck if you want.
Yeah.
And you're like, but wait, I thought I made it. Yeah. I thought I'm past this in comedy. And they're like, nah.
Yeah, let me show you my numbers from Des Moines. Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things that I guess it's humbling, but at the same time, it's I would say having the best use of your time is also, you know, like time is just so valuable. So if you can spend more time getting equity with a place where, you know, they'll put you up somewhere, then that's one thing. But at the same time, it's like, you know, you can vie for, like, I think my relationship with the store has just been, I'll do shows if they ask me to do shows, and I'll go when I go to hang out and say hi to people. But I don't want to get in the habit of doing anything that's uncharacteristic of myself, where I'm just like, you know.
Yeah.
You want the work to speak for itself, not, you know.
Totally. Where are you from originally?
So I'm from Indiana. I grew up in Vegas after that.
What age?
I was from, let's see, in Vegas I was from like 8 to 18, and then when I was 18, I just moved out here.
So which place feels more like home, Vegas or
They
Indiana?
kind of both do. They both come with like different demographics, but they kind of both do. They're both formative in their own like different ways. But I think Indy is a place that like that's where they claim me or feel like they are like, you know, that's where I'm from. But really, like, I'm like, I don't remember any of you, and I don't remember any of the.
What's the comedy club in Indy? Crackers?
They have Crackers, and then they have Helium.
Helium's the new one, though.
Yeah, Helium's the newer one. And I love the Heliums. And then before I did Helium was Crackers, and before I did Crackers was Morty's.
So I did Morty's.
Do you remember Morty's?
I did Morty's and Crackers. I haven't done the Helium there.
Yeah. The Helium's beautiful.
I bet. Yeah, they're all super beautiful. But when you do Crackers, do they try and make you feel like it's home club, or they don't? You already passed that.
It's just kind of like my relationship kind of just evolved from that, and it wasn't. It's just like I was working all the Heliums, and then when they opened a new one, it just made sense to do that one. So
yeah.
But yeah, and you're from San Diego, right?
Yeah. San Diego originally.
Yeah. Did you do La Jolla down there and everything?
I didn't know how comedy worked, so I started in LA. Basically, I did a few times in college in Santa Cruz, and then after doing it 4 or 5 times, I'm like, all right, I'm really good. I'm gonna go to LA, and do it there. And then you move here, and you realize, oh, most people don't do it this way.
Yeah,
but it kind of worked out.
Yeah,
I think in my favor, because I was okay. I never went through a phase where I was bombing all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that, you know, I still watch my old stuff and I cringe.
Yeah.
But I've never had like a set where I'm like, man, I just can't get any laughs.
Right.
Or, you know, I've bombed a bunch of times, but overall, on a consistent basis, I never went, some comedians like, oh, I bombed for the first 3 years and then something clicked.
Right.
I've always been able to get a laugh.
Well, I think you're a naturally funny person, and
Thank you.
and so when you could have your personality save you in pockets where something might not.
Right.
You know.
So I was always okay. So then when I went, you know, when you go to a smaller city after being an LA comedian, you kind of instantly get bumped up a notch.
Yeah,
and
that's
that
your
could
credit.
work in your favor or not.
Yeah, that's your credit in Minnesota. Yeah.
Like I remember I went to Australia, and they basically thought LA comedians sucked because a bunch of people went there with that credit. I'm an LA comedian. They get thrown up everywhere, and then they bombed all over. So it can work for you or against you. But so I kind of, now when I go to San Diego, I got to do all the best shows, and I feel like I skipped the whole process.
That's
of
great.
Coming up in that scene.
Did you go to? Were you a Madhouse guy, or were you American Comedy Club, or
all of them?
All of them.
I would just I'd go. I was door guy at the Hollywood store, so I'd get thrown up at the La Jolla spots. Yeah, Madhouse, ACC, all of them. So I got lucked out.
That's great.
Yeah.
When I was first starting out, I used to drive down to do open mics in San Diego.
Yeah, because you couldn't get up here, so you're like, I'll drive 2 hours for a decent 10-minute spot.
On Wednesday. Yeah, on Wednesday you just. And
Did you start when you were 18?
No, when I was. I moved out here for like acting and stuff like that. I didn't want to do stand up. I used to work the door at Flappers.
Before you were a stand up though?
Yeah. No,
really?
Yeah.
I knew you worked at Flappers, but I didn't know you were just like
No, I had no intention of
What year was this when you were working there?
so like almost right away. So 2010.
Okay.
2010 is when they kind of hired me, and then it was like a perfect
Minimum wage.
Yeah, minimum wage. Like,
You
man,
wearing that weird
vest
costume?
and tie and all the stuff, and like a fedora, and really like bought into like the whole thing. But in my head, I was like, oh well, I can make friends here, but like this is just like in the periphery. This is never something that's like, oh, I would love to do stand up.
Right. You're like, it's entertainment industry. It'll be good, but I'm an actor.
Exactly. And ideally it felt like just like a perfect night job. I had my days free to audition for whatever, or if there was any like reason to be on set, like I could do that.
It's pretty chill. You're meeting comedians, laughter, food.
Yeah, exactly. It totally makes sense. So it wasn't until like a year later and my injury and no one, like I couldn't get hired and I was like devastated.
You started stand up after your industry?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that either.
Yeah. I had gone on stage on Flappers like once before just to try it, just to be like, oh, let's see what happens. But I was mostly investing my time in like improv and I had no real, I wasn't like in love with like the idea of stand up. And then after bombing, it was just like,
the one time you did it, you bombed?
Oh yeah, I bombed. I think I did it once or twice, and I just bombed. Like
Pre-injury.
Yeah.
You're going up.
Yeah, your idea of like what you think it is, like. I think stand-up's one of those things where when you watch someone do it well, you go, oh, I can do it. And then if you watch them do it badly, you go, I can do it better than that.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say is I feel like, because I worked at the store for 5 years and I see all these waitresses kind of dabbling in it. What it is they watch so many shitty open mics. They're like, if that's being a comedian, I could be a comedian. Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. So it's just it's almost something that will never really get fully appreciated by people who are outside of it.
That's pretty. I had no idea you started after because that to me that would be double. It's interesting. You're like, I couldn't get work because of my injury, but like stand up is all talking.
Yeah.
So jumping into it post injury, you must have been like, is this dumbest idea I've ever had? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Like, what made you just needed an outlet?
Dude, it sounds so like hokey to say, but I was like desperate for feeling just like I can perform. Or I can, like, I'm not completely useless.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not something that hopefully will like just run me into the ground to a place where I just like facing people back home, facing people who were friends of mine who were already like actor friends, or it all felt just like I didn't have really a place to go. And there's just this weird there's almost this weird like misfit kind of vibe to whatever stand up is, and everybody kind of has their own things. Like there's a few guys, or there's a few people who they're like, I just love it. I'm funny. I was funny in my hometown and blah, 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 but and fuck those people. But like, there's some people who it's like, man, I feel a certain way, or I had something that kind of dated back to a time where I was just like, I think I just need to do this for,
it is interesting.
Reason.
There's all types of people in stand up. There's rebels, there's nerds, there's you name it. It's a very diverse group. Like I feel like I'm friends with people that I would have never been friends with if it wasn't for stand up. Yeah,
it's crazy. Like Fahim is like a engineer or it's like
engineer, rocket scientist.
Yeah, you're just like, how? It's bizarre. Such a funny person, but like it's crazy to think that it's just a potluck of kind of people with different backstories.
When you first started going up, because of your speech impediment, is that what you call it?
Sure.
Because of your speech, did your like brain sometimes go ahead of? Was it really frustrating because you're like, I'm already here in my brain, but I'm here what's coming out?
Yeah, all the time, and it happens in conversations too, where it's this thing where you're almost anticipating or planning what it is that they're saying and what it is that you're saying, and you're like circumventing difficult words or things that you get stuck on in order to like get around to what it is. So it's just I never actually can feel like I'm fully present out in the world, and the only time that I guess you really can is just for the sake of stand up and making sure that it goes well, evaluating it from all angles at all time. And that's just born from insecurity. Like that's just, just hugely being insecure. And earlier sets when I used to talk much slower and it was much more difficult, like to get things out, and I was dealing with a lot of vocal like paralysis and nerve damage. I would get heckled for like, the wrong reasons, where it's like, I mean, there's not really a right reason to heckle, but like ones that are with like malicious intent, or one that's like,
What's an example of that? Because that sounds horrible.
People like hurry up, like people
Wow.
like people talking. This is a big one, is like people turning to talk to like whoever they're talking to, but like loudly to make a point to not be listening to what it is that you're saying. And it's always, there's always this thing too that eats at me, where it's like, here I am sometimes feeling like I'm being very vulnerable with what had happened and trying to make jokes to get you guys to like me. And sometimes people will think it's an act or it's a gimmick. And then it's like, no, it's such the opposite way that makes it feel like, an additional like twist the knife,
That's what I was going to ask you. When someone accuses you of making up your impediment, it's like that must be a big stab in the back. You're like,
yeah,
this is not something I would wish upon anyone, and I have it, and you're saying I'm making it up. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that like I've said on stage, I just think that that's just because of the place. Like if you make a joke about your stutter in a conversation, it doesn't matter. You're just a guy you're a guy who stutters, who's like, oh, I'm self-aware, and that was a little thing. But because it's happening on stage, then it's all of a sudden it's like, is that being used for personal gain, or is that being? I just think it's just there's a aspect of it being on stage that makes it like performative, I guess.
What about the perks to it though? Any sweet perks?
Nah.
Like, you ever get a free ice cream cone?
No,
You ever
not
get
at
people
all.
that think you're retarded?
Yeah, my fucking family. But yeah, no, not really.
Do you ever get people who talk to you like you're a little kid because of it, because you're little and
yeah,
cute?
but I'm into that. No, and it's also been, it's just such a thing I'm just so used to that I feel like I can't even, I've almost blocked off anything that's positive from it other than stand up.
How'd you meet your current girlfriend?
We met at a bar after a shows in Vermont. So she's from Vermont.
Oh, but lives here.
Yeah, she lives here with me now. Yeah.
Okay.
But we visit Vermont all the time.
Oh, you snuck her away.
Yeah.
See, that's the
Kidnapping.
move.
Yeah.
You get a girl
Trafficking.
out of L.A.
Mm-hmm.
You say, hey, come here. Be my LA babe.
Yeah, you import.
Mm-hmm. That's the move.
Yeah, you import.
Mm-hmm. That's 100.
Yeah,
Is that basically what happened? Did you meet and you're like, I really like you, but I live in LA?
Yeah.
So you did distance for a while?
We did long distance, and it was a challenge, but it was like really cool because, so many gigs are like on the East Coast or in that time zone. And
got it.
So it was somewhat of a midpoint, and she was going to school at the time, but still kind of making it work. So, we dated long distance for quite a while before she moved out there. 8 months.
Nice.
Yeah, a long time, but
at the same time, not a long time. Like 8 months is a long time, but then it's like, all right, you ready to live in the same city and move for me after 8 months?
Yeah, it's a
lot. It's a big commitment.
It's a big thing to ask someone to do. And I feel like, with stand-up, it does make sense that somebody like wants a companion because it is such a lonely thing.
Yeah.
And there really isn't a middle road from what it is I've observed. There's people who, they party and they hang out on the road and whatever. It's free game. And then there's people who are just like, no, I'm very committed to the person I'm with because they understand what it is like to do this. And
then there's the people that do both.
And then there's the people
they got
that
the girlfriend at
both.
home, and then they go out and they get shit-faced and hook up with trash.
That's true.
The worst is you go on the road and they're and like, a lot of people in any industry, comedians, non-comedians, people cheat. There's a lot of cheaters in the world. Not everyone's a cheater, but there are cheaters out there. It's a real thing. I've cheated. I've been cheated on.
Yeah.
You know, try not to. Hopefully I won't ever again, but that's the real world we're in. But you go on the road with some people and they're hooking up. They're married and they're hooking up with a girl and you're like, you're going to ruin your relationship for that? For that disgusting troll of a person who smells like cigarettes and cocaine? Like that is... What are you doing with your life?
Your set wasn't that bad.
Yeah. You just killed on stage and you're hooking up with that? I wouldn't hook up with her if I was alone in the world. If I was on an island, I wouldn't hook up with her and we had to repopulate the species. I'd let it die. But people are, I guess, I don't know if that's a sexual addiction thing or they just really like women. I don't know.
I mean, have you ever, like...
Made a mistake?
No, I'm not. No, I was gonna say, like, have you ever, like, I would say it's shocking, like, when you go on the road with somebody, like, when I used to open with people and, they're one way at home and it puts you in a bit of a predicament to just be like, what, like, how do I know both of pieces of information and both sides of this individual, and am I complicit in this? Like, it feels so weird.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm like, hey, that's their business and that's their decision. I'm not, I obviously am not going to be like, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm just, hey, that's, you do you.
Yeah.
And hopefully it doesn't come to bite you in the ass. I mean, some of these girls that that they're cheating on their wives with, I'm like, if I was the wife, I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be like, how are you capable of doing that? She's so gross.
And I also see the opposite, or I guess the inverse, where there are girls who are married that come to the shows and will hook up with, which is also just weird. Like, it's a weird thing. The institution of marriage is just was sacred.
I went on, I'm Jewish. Mm-hmm. I don't advertise that publicly, but my name's Ari, so it's pretty much assumed. So I did that. Have you heard of birthright?
No.
Birthright is you get for being Jewish, you get a free trip to Israel.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I have heard of this.
And you do it, and the whole time you're on the trip, they basically convince you to move there. That's really the goal of their trip. Like, it's insane. You go to Israel, and it's
I've heard it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful place, beautiful women. They got everything. It's a beautiful place. But American Pride, we're like America number one. Israelis have that times 10.
Wow.
So they're like, we're the best, and you go there and like, this is our beach. And you're like, it's a nice beach. You're like, it's the best beach in the world. You're like, all right. And they're like, these are our women. They're the hottest women in the world. You're like, relax. They're like that about everything. And I go on this trip, and it's 15 guys and 15 girls in our group. So pretty even match. And on day one, we're doing games to probably 25 at the time or 24, and we're doing games to get to know one another because we're going to be with each other for the next week or two.
Yeah.
And day one, I literally every single girl on the trip had a boyfriend.
Oh no.
And to me, and it's fine. Like you hear about people hooking up on the trip, but I was like, okay, I'm going to enjoy the trip. I don't even have to think about trying to hook up with these girls.
Right.
Great. I was like, I'm just going to be their friends.
Right.
By the end of the trip, literally 13 of the 14 girls had cheated on their boyfriends.
Oh, my goodness.
Literally.
Wow.
Without exaggeration.
Wow.
And I got back from that trip just hating
You
women.
had sex with 13 girls?
I had 13 girls. It was a giant orgy fuck fest.
But it was the best. It was better than it.
It was worth it. I was like, hey, thank your boyfriend.
Israeli orgies are the best.
But yeah, I got back from that trip just hating women. So it's not just, you hear on both sides, women are like, oh, men cheat. But it's like, no, it's definitely just everybody cheats.
Yeah.
Except for the rare exception.
Yeah.
I really think it's a rare exception. I think it's like 20% of people that doesn't cheat.
Absolutely. And I think you would have had to have learned, I've cheated, I've been cheated on, and it's when it like happens to you that you kind of get, you can go one of two ways. That's either the time you stop or that's the time you start because you just get very insecure.
Yeah. No, for me, the time I stopped is I got caught.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I ruined this relationship with this girl that I really loved. Like, it was a bad mistake. and I got caught, and I was like, oh, this isn't worth it.
And then once you don't have it, then you get perspective and.
Yeah, for me, I'm sure. Yeah, or getting cheated on would probably do the same effect. It could all have the same effect, but yeah, it's a gnarly thing. What about you've traveled all over the entire world now?
I was I'm a bit jealous that you got to do Australia because we were scheduled to do it in 2020.
You haven't done a show yet.
No.
Oh,
no.
You're the best, dude.
I heard. I just heard it's the best.
It's America 2.0.
That's great.
It's literally like America but cleaner. The people are more chill. They have more money. They're nicer. They have cool accents.
Yeah.
It's 2.0. What about anywhere else have you done besides US?
Yeah.
Europe and stuff?
I also heard about Australia like that their comedy sensibility is also just so good. Like they don't I've yet to meet an Aussie that gets like offended by a thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They don't get offended. They like the fucked up shit.
Yeah.
They also, the way their comedy system runs, I think for you it might be different because you'll probably go over there and do little theaters or something like that and do your normal show.
Yeah.
But if you go there and just do their shows, the headliners only do 30 minutes and they have an intermission between the feature and the headliner. So it goes host, feature, intermission, host, headliner.
So all that momentum just was for naught.
You could look at it as the feature is not really the warm up for the headliner anymore. It's really the host that warms them up.
Weird.
So the way they do it is the host is typically the second best on the show, not the feature. The feature is the new comedian there.
Wow. Kind of like our jokes. You just kind of want to you want to pocket it with good. You want to cradle it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And but it's so much better because that intermission kind of energizes them, and then you gotta think, there's plenty of people who have a funny hour, but there's plenty of people that probably the show's just better if it's 30 minutes, if the headliner's doing 30 minutes, because even can't speak for you, but most of the headliners they're like, man, I wish I could just do 30 because then it's just all killing stuff, and but it seems like a better system.
Yeah, I've only got like 10. But yeah, that's really cool. So I would like COVID hit, so we couldn't do that, but I had heard that it was amazing. I've done London a few times, which I just love. Like I love getting to do comedy outside of America, because then when you talk shit about America, it's kind of like, right? Like it feels like not like you're deliberately but it's just kind of like over there, like over there is all these things I'm referencing, and you agree, you hate us, right? So
you can make fun of your country and not feel any guilt. What about any crimes in your life? Have you ever committed any crimes?
Oh man, no. I'm a very boring and neurotic
What's the biggest trouble you ever got into as a kid? It could be from your parents.
Sure. I ditched school. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I ditched school, and just to I've ditched school twice. I ditched school one time just to feel it. I was just like, I'm just gonna you get the idea.
Literally, you're like, I just want to do it once.
Yeah, you get
kind of
the
like
idea.
dine and dashing. I did that once. I don't like dine and dashing, but I was like, I want to do it once in my life.
I've never dined and dashed.
Oh yeah, you got.
I dine and then I tip
so
well.
If you did it.
What?
You'd be even funnier if you did it.
Yeah.
You're like, did Drew Lynch just dine and dash?
I feel, I don't know why. I feel guilty having people wait. I feel guilty at restaurants. I don't know. I'm just a weird person, but.
Oh, I felt so guilty when I did it.
Yeah.
I felt so guilty.
You saying you feel guilty when you eat there?
Oh no, when I dine and dash.
And you pay? I feel guilty when I pay. I don't know why. But yeah, you should feel absolutely terrible about what you did.
Yeah, it was not good. I was young. I was 30. And I was kidding.
Wait, how old were you when you dined and dash?
I must have been 19.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. I was still an adult.
Yeah.
It was still, and I literally the whole time I was like, I don't want to do this.
Was it a nice
we already
place?
Committed. It wasn't that nice. It was a cheesecake factory.
Oh, okay. All right.
Pretty, mid-level, nice.
Yeah.
I like the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
I love it too. It's was it just you?
Me and a friend.
Yeah.
We did it together.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You held hands on the way out. Yeah.
We held
Do you
hands.
take you ate everything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We even asked for extra bread.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We put them through the ring. Pink lemonades,
Yeah.
meals.
Yeah. There's a few that shut down this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of businesses are shut, or a lot of restaurants are shutting down. But I think the Cheesecake Factory will come out on top because, from what I heard, so all these restaurants are closing down. But the people who are going to have the money to scoop up all the amazing locations are these chains.
Right.
So like the best mom and pop restaurant who shut down after the pandemic's over, who's going to have the money to be like, oh, let's start a restaurant right there. It's going to be Cheesecake Factory, Chili's, all these kind of chain restaurants.
Right. Okay.
So that's my prediction. If you're out there and you're an investor, you got to invest in the chain restaurants right now because
in not the backbone of our economy, but the corporations.
Yeah, the corporate they're about to screw over all the mom and pops that shut down. Those best locations. Who's going to get them? Who's going to have money at the end of this? Not the good guys.
You should have dined and dashed on a mom and pop because they weren't going to make it anyway.
That's right. Screw them over. I also drink chocolate milks when I go grocery shopping. I'll drink it while I shop and I'll put it on the shelf. That I still do.
Wow, that's way worse than like dining and dashing.
No way, that's better.
Are you kidding
I'm still
me?
giving them money. I'm still buying my groceries. They're still making money off of me at the end of the trip.
But not the chocolate milk.
No, I steal that.
Right, but you put it back.
I just put it on so let's say I'll take the chocolate milk from the milk section. I'll drink it while I shop, and then when I'm done drinking it, I'll just put it on a random shelf somewhere in the store.
Empty?
Empty, yeah.
Okay. Visibly empty? Is it a clear carton or is it
No, it's usually covered. But I mean, yeah, as soon as they find it, they know. They know what happened. But it's like, they're still making money off me. That's not that bad. That's like
whatever you need to tell
It's kind of like grazing
yourself.
at Whole Foods. You ever go there and you just eat things?
Yeah.
It's like that, but I do it when you're at Ralph's. There's no opportunities to graze like that. So
Right.
You gotta find your own.
My mom did a thing where she would shop and she would eat lots of the groceries as she's shopping, and then by the time she got to check out, whatever the thing she was snacking was empty. So they would scan like a empty thing, and she would just be like, "Can you throw that away?" Like, so they would just
she'd still pay for it.
She would still pay for it,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it was just so weird. It's an empty feeling to just scan something.
See, your mom's a better person than me. I would, if it's empty, I would put it on the shelf and be like, I'm not buying this empty thing. That's part of the experience. That's part of thank you, Ralph. Trader Joe's, you can go there. You could ask them to open things for you and sample them. I don't do that though. See, I don't want to bother one of the employees. I just open it, eat it.
Oh, I see.
Put it to the side.
So you have like some line of like consideration, but it goes
like,
to an extent.
Yeah, it's like, listen, they're still making money off me at the end. They're still robbing me, these places. So you don't have that much guilt. It's kind of like you ever sometimes. Okay, here's another thing I do that would be technically illegal. So let's say I bought these 4 microphone arms on Amazon, which I did. And let's say 6 months from now, this one breaks. I'll order the same thing on Amazon, and then I'll put this in the box and return it instantly and say it came broken.
Wow.
Little scheme.
Just a little bit. You're just like you just take a little bit of things.
Yeah, and the way I look at it, hey, I order shit from Amazon all the time. The least they could do if a product breaks, even if it's after the warranty is, I'm taking my money back.
I get that.
Am I a bad guy? Maybe. I think, there's a balance. If you're too good of a guy,
yeah,
you're gonna go crazy. You're gonna snap and you're gonna kill someone or something.
I feel like
you can't be too good.
I feel like I need a thing like that.
If you're too good, then you can't trust those guys. That's all I'm saying. Something's off.
That's true. Too straight laced. I feel like I need a thing. I feel like I need to do something. I'm just not good at I am not good at everything. I'm not good at being a good person or being a bad person. I'm not good at I don't want to do one wrong or do the other one not well. So I just do everything by the rules, fully.
Yeah, you're a sweet innocent boy.
Yeah,
you're a good
fully,
boy.
and but it causes I need
you need an outlet to be bad.
Yeah, because I have all these problems I feel like I've got equity somewhere where someone is keeping an eye on me, being that's really good.
It used to be smoking weed. I feel like was everyone's bad boy thing because smoking weed, remember, was illegal most of our lives.
Right.
But everyone did it. And that was kind of like, I'm pretty good, but I do smoke weed.
I don't smoke weed.
Oh, you don't? And I was going to say now you're allowed to smoke weed. So that's not like a bad boy thing.
I don't. The feeling of just no control for a second is terrifying to me.
Weed's no control though?
Oh, man.
That's what I don't smoke that much weed, but that's why I will smoke weed as opposed to other drugs because I still feel pretty much in control when I'm high on weed.
Indicas? Indicas where your arm is like numb and by your side and you're like, your brain is like, grab my drink.
So you get really affected by it.
Oh, man. The idea that my brain is telling my body part to do something and it's not doing it is terrifying to me.
See, mine will still do it, just slower.
That's what's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, it's not at the pace even that I wanted. It's not you just get in this whole, like, vortex of just, like, the amount of times that you should not think, is this happening because of the weed? Like, it's obviously happening because of the weed, but you get into this place where it's like, maybe it's not the weed though. It could be like my heart. It could be like it could be like a stroke it could be like just the laundry list of things to me.
So you're kind of like an overthinking, paranoid
absolutely
personality by nature.
Oh yeah.
What about junk food? Do you eat that?
Yeah. I eat pretty shitty. Like I'm vegan, but like I eat.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
Yeah.
No, you don't eat that shitty then.
Yeah. Well, I'm vegan, but like
How long have you been vegan for?
About like a year and a half.
Okay, newish then.
But I'm vegan because I'm just like, well, I don't want like meat to like clog up anything. I don't like dairy could be bad. Like it's just I'm skeptical of everything and it's just not a fun.
So vegan was a health choice more so than anything?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I love
It wasn't humanitarian.
Animals.
No, not at all. It was very selfish.
What do you miss the most?
I don't miss it. I don't miss any of
You don't miss In-N-Out?
I don't miss any of the stuff. Like, I mean,
Pepperoni
pizza, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, cauliflower, cauliflower is pretty good, but it's cauliflower.
But cauliflower pizza is good when they use real cheese. You don't even get it with real cheese.
No, I don't. I mean, and they're getting pretty good at it. Like, Taco Bell has, like, stuff now where it's like, this is all plant-based, and it's like, all right, this isn't the same, but this is still Taco Bell. This is crazy.
Yeah. The world is slowly moving that direction.
Yeah. The technology for what is vegan now, like I couldn't have been vegan like 5 years ago. I would be like, this is insane. Are you kidding me? This tastes exactly like something that is like not edible. This is not ideal at all. But because it's gotten so good with the technology, you're just like, wow, this is pretty good. Like if you can eat something vegan and go, like that's pretty good.
Yeah. I should try it for a week.
Yeah,
just as an experiment.
It's
I'm sure
the hardest.
I'd hate it. But
yeah, it's the hardest. Like that first week or two, you're just like, what do I eat? Like eggs and dairy and like meat. It's all in everything.
Do you ever break it?
Occasionally, I'll have salmon, like fish, just to keep it like in my gut health, and then sometimes eggs as well if they're like fresh.
Eggs and salmon. Okay, not too bad.
Not together, but yeah.
Yeah. That'd be a good combo.
So yeah, when you ask like if I committed any like crimes, like it's just
nothing.
I don't know. It's all by the rules, like.
Or maybe the crimes are so bad we can't even talk about them.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, some secret.
But, I just like everything. Like I'm just not. I think I criticize myself so much about what it is that I do that's what keeps me from doing anything else. Like I'm like, well, you're not even good at this yet. You haven't even done this yet. What makes you think you could even try that? Like people who have hobbies, I'm like, I'm fascinated by people who have hobbies.
You have no hobbies?
No.
Comedy,
yeah.
Girlfriend, comedy, watch TV.
Sometimes, yeah, yep. That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's hard to imagine why I have an empty life.
You don't play any sports?
Over the summer, when for last year and during the lockdown, I was in Vermont with my girlfriend, and they had like a pickup soccer thing, and I loved it. I got so into it.
You like sports, but there's nothing that you do. You don't have like on Saturdays I play soccer.
No.
Type of thing.
No, I wish. I have writer friends. Like I have a couple of friends who like, yeah, I do pick up basketball. Or I had like a Rolfer who he was like, yeah, I do dodgeball. He's like 35 and he's like, I do dodgeball every Saturday. And
are you scared of sports?
No.
From your injury?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not scared of sports. But
I would
just
be.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
If what happened to me.
Yeah.
Nah.
If that happened to me, I'd be like, sports are done with my life.
But it's kind of like when you watch someone get struck by like if someone gets struck by lightning, like next to you, you're like, oh well, fuck, that's not gonna happen again.
Right, that's true. You're like, I got that out of the way.
Yeah. I am constantly standing around people getting struck by lightning. No, but like I'm saying, like you know, when it happens, you're just kind of like, all right, what's the worst that could happen is that it changes back, and that might be bad. But
that would be insane.
Yeah, but I just feel like like hobbies, people who have
Video
them are
games?
fascinating. No. I have to stay away from video games because I would get too
Addicted.
Yeah, I would quit comedy and I would do a Twitch and then I would be one of those and you would be like, yeah, that guy, like he talks shit like to 10-year-olds and like
Cooking vegan food.
I hate it. I hate cooking. The idea it's a time thing. Like the idea that you're preparing something that someone could just prepare for you, like.
Oh yeah, and then you have to clean all the dishes, and then you're like, I just spent 3 hours, and that meal wasn't even that good.
This is my goal. Is my goal is to be so good at just one thing that I can make so much money at that I don't have to have hobbies or cook or do anything. Like,
you could probably afford a
takeout
in-home chef right now.
Yeah,
maybe a live-in chef.
Well, yeah, or just even just takeout. I mean, a chef. Like, no, I don't want a person. No, because then they'll talk to me like, do you have any hobbies? And I'm like, fuck you. Like, I don't have. Like, this is why.
Amy Schumer married her chef.
Is that what she did?
Yeah,
She
her
said
husband
that she said that
was her personal chef.
Oh man,
That'd
that's a conflict
cool.
of interest.
Now she probably was like, man, I love his cooking, but I don't want to pay for it anymore.
So it's a financial decision.
Maybe that's how it started. She's like, I want to get some free dinners out of this guy. I'm gonna make him come a few times.
Oh Jesus!
And then all of a sudden she's like, you know what? I like him.
That is
It's a theory.
That is a theory. I mean,
I don't know Amy Schumer, so it's an asshole theory to make about a stranger, but I'm doing it right now.
I feel, but I hear of like all these other comedians, like they're like, yeah, I do, like, you know, like they'll have like pick up sports games, or they're like, yeah, I'm really into like tennis, or I collect things, or I woodwork, or what, like, you're just like, how? I also feel like it's too late. It's too late to do that stuff. If you pick up a hobby when you're like early 20s and you stick with it, you're like, oh, and then you show your hobby to someone, people are like, you're really good.
Tony Hinchcliffe just picked up golf during quarantine. It's not too late.
I'll never
it's
do
not,
golf. I'll never do golf. And I'll tell Tony to his face he shouldn't do golf. I do. Oh, I used to do frisbee golf. Do you know frisbee golf?
Yeah, frisbee golf in
is
college
so much
that
more
was
fun.
really popular when I went to college. I don't know if it still is.
They've got some nice courses over in San Diego too. But frisbee golf, like I want to be
could
able
be a
to.
hobby.
Yeah.
One time I went out on a date with a girl who was a professional frisbee golf player. Now she does OnlyFans.
Really?
So it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But
wow, that's crazy. That's really crazy.
She was sponsored by like a frisbee company, and
I mean, but the difference between like golf and frisbee golf. Like the idea that you can hit a ball somewhere and you would spend more time looking for the ball.
Only in the beginning.
That's just a huge commitment.
I used to be a golf caddy.
I could see that for you.
Yeah, when I was I think I was 17. I want to say, or 8. I forget now. But it was one summer. I think it was in between high school and college, and I worked at this really expensive golf course in San Diego, and I was making $300 to $400 a day caddying. It was good money.
Yeah, you shouldn't have given that up, man.
I mean, you're
good at comedy, but you're not. I mean, that's.
Oh, I'll never make that kind of money.
No one will.
What white jumpsuit I wore every day. They liked me because at the time I wanted to join the Marines, and they liked that about me.
Sure,
that's why they picked me. And then
there's a lot of Republicans on the golf course.
A lot of them, and I remember there was caddies with BMWs from working that job. There were, it was a high-paying job. I lost it because one morning they're like, show up tomorrow. We have a tea time at 7 a.m. Be here for that. And I just slept right through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that's a good call. Even for that money. No, that's a good call.
7 a.m. I'm not a morning person. You know what time I woke up today? 12:20 and I had a 1 p.m. podcast with you.
Wow, good for you, man. Do you ever do press on the road? Like if like
radio on occasion?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of press is. I don't know if it's good or bad. Like I kind of like going. To me, it's fun to go do the radio. I'm sure that would get old very fast because I don't do it that often.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more old for you, but it seems like it's going away.
Yeah.
No one really does press on the road anymore
No.
because now it's like, do you have your podcast? You can plug it there.
Yeah, it's digital, and people are kind of cultivating their own like audiences that way.
What about you? Do you do press on the road?
I used to do it, but I hated it. I'm
did?
not
Because
a
of
morning
waking up,
person.
yeah.
Not a morning person, and also just like a lot of these guys that you go to do the shows of are a little bit older generation. So there's kind of like, all right, so we're going to set you up for a bit, right? Now, which one?
Yeah.
And like, I remember I had done press once where they made me submit a list of my jokes, and they were beforehand.
Was it a popular radio, or was it an unpopular
It was
station where you're like,
someplace in Florida.
you're making me submit for the station that 100 people are listening to?
Yeah. And so we'll set you up for this kid, and then you like do that, and then like it always feels so uncomfortable. I would so much rather just like have a genuine interview or conversation, and then like be that, and then someone listens like, oh, that was interesting.
Yeah,
I might not go to the show, but yeah.
So the times I've done it, I was aware enough that local news, even on TV, local news or local radio, is pretty much dead. Like they're hanging on for dear life right now with those businesses as a whole. Very few of them actually are popular. So
Yeah.
I knew that I've only done 3 or 4 times, but I knew all 4 times no one's listening to this, so I could do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And if I never get invited back, I also don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So I just tried to make it funny so that I could get a clip for social media or something and just have fun with it
Yeah.
every time I've done it. But sometimes it's hard to even do that because these hosts are so fake radio. Oh, ha, ha, ha,
Yeah.
ha, you're hilarious. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And they're playing along with you too much where I'm like, this is going to be impossible to make something funny out of this.
Besides that, what's the worst part of stand-up for you?
The worst part of stand-up
Like, if there's a
comedy?
component of it that you're just like, this grates at me.
I get anxiety right before I go on stage, like nervous and anxious, and I don't think that's ever going to go away for me. I think it's just that 10 minutes before you go on, I get nervous every time. And I think that comes from the live element of stand-up, you don't know what's going to happen. 9 out of 10 times, I have great sets, I have fun, but that 1 out of 10 times that drunk asshole gets up and says, you suck, or whatever it is.
Those are good numbers.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's like, one time I got in a fight in New York from stand-up, a actual fist fight. So it's
Did you?
Yeah, so these small elements that make it so you're like, your guard is up and you're anxious because you're like, well, what if that happens tonight?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my least favorite. It's just the
10 minutes before.
inconsistent. What's your least favorite?
When you're on stage, that's the worst part for me. I'm like,
Doing the
"Jeez."
actual stand-up.
10 minutes during. I'm like,
I just like
"Jesus."
calling myself a comedian, but doing it.
No. I think so too. I get very I would like to think I'm a nice person, and I love to be a nice person.
You
like
are. You are a
when
nice
when we're working with club owners and stuff too. I feel like I want to be like nice and be professional. But if you come into the green room 10 minutes before or 5 minutes before, I get like, I don't want to say it's uncharacteristic of me, but it's a little bit like short. It's just like, he's like, do you need anything? It's like, no, I'm okay. And then like, if if someone comes,
So you
someone
like
comes
being
back,
left alone.
I love being left alone.
Yeah.
I would love to be like, we just did show when I just told you, we were doing shows in Arizona, and in between shows, like we had to do 3 on Saturday, and in between shows to like conserve energy. And I'm like reordering the set, and sometimes you like edit and you're like, I remember that didn't go as well, so I'll do this. Like, the lights were off, and they in the green room, and they lit a candle, and then they had like
you're like
a
meditating
fan.
in
Yes,
there. Yeah.
I love it. Oh
You
my
know who
god,
else is exactly like that? Theo.
Theo's like that. Yeah,
Right before shows, a lot of the times he wants to be alone. And,
Yeah.
like, meditate for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Before, and I get it. It's like he's nervous, and especially like for me, I'm going up featuring, so I'm doing 25 minutes, cush spot, same 25. I could do whatever I want. It's pretty easy
Low
overall,
stakes.
most of the time, low stakes. But when you're the headliner,
yeah,
and especially when you're selling out tickets, like these people paid money to see you. You don't want to disappoint your fans. So there's that
1000%.
extra pressure of like, I got to do good for my fans.
I miss being a feature. I miss it.
Yeah, but not the money.
Oh, no, I mean, I'll caddy before I feature. Yeah,
Dude, I just did Des Moines, I was telling you.
Yeah.
I think I made $45
Oh.
from flying to Des Moines and back because the flight,
Yeah.
they pay 150. I got $600 for the weekend. My flight was $400 and then
Yeah.
food and everything else.
When meet and greets were legal, I used to do like I would sell merch, and then
Right.
I would
I should do that, yeah.
and then off of that, but I just mean like for even like headlining and doing meet and greets, like I'll have like some of my openers help sell merch, and then I'll pay them, like I'll match whatever it is that they spent or whatever it is that they made to help, because I know how much it is to like for the flight, and then.
That's the only way to make money as a feature is basically be a feature for someone that hooks it up. But this particular weekend was booked by the club, so I didn't know the headline. I mean, I got to know him, but it wasn't like that. So it was like,
Gotcha.
But the only way to make money. A lot of people are like, oh, I could be a feature comedian. It's not the 80s. You can't make money at that.
Yeah, no. And,
literally.
No, and like it's different too in that like then you could drive to gigs and do like a treble run and like set things up, and I'd done a few of those a long time ago.
I did a treble run too.
Oh my God.
I was really early in a comedy, and I still at the end of the triple run was like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah. I did one in one of them.
You did an actual triple run?
Yep.
Well, let's hear
one
that
of them
story.
was the Bonkers Club in before you get to Vegas, was Prim.
Okay, I didn't do that.
Oh,
one.
good for you.
It's in Nevada?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just, I think, either Prim is in California or Nevada, but I'm pretty sure it's right before Vegas.
In the casino over there?
In a casino, and the comedy club is called.
Oh, I've seen this one. I've never done this show, but I've driven by it. I've seen the advertisements.
Yeah, it's called Bonkers, and you're performing, and it's a very like narrow kind of hallway. It's almost like Zany's downtown Chicago. It's very narrow, and the partition to make it a comedy club is like just a curtain. It's just a curtain. So people, slot machines, everything, like you can hear it all because it's just a curtain.
Got it.
And that show I did there was so bad. Like I remember the janitor was vacuuming, he was dragging the trash can, and I guess he also had like the backpack vacuum thing, and so during the show, like it's going, and the little hose you can see like poking out from under the curtain like hitting like guests' legs, like
he just does not care at all what's going on.
Yeah, so
you're like, a show's going on, he's like, I know. Yeah.
So man, it was just
was there an audience?
Yeah, a few people.
Did you bomb?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And you bomb, and then at the end they give you like $100, $150 or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
and the coupon to eat at like the thing. Man, and just like paying for like motels and like what I used to do for like colleges to like save money, like. It's there are elements to both, like where it's just like I miss just being able to like walk somewhere or be somewhere and not have like the pressure of just being like, am I being watched, or am I if I am meeting people like after the show, like I don't want the expectation to be that I'm not a nice person or not a person who's open to that. It's just like I could be really tired because we just did 3 shows, so there's that, but then there's also the like, okay, well I worked so hard to get here and I had to go through a whole lot of shit to do it. So
do you still meet people at the end of all your shows?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
The meet and greets and photos and stuff?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that part of it, or do you think one day you'll be like, I'm done with that?
That's the thing, is I think people really appreciate it, and for them to articulate that they appreciate that, how many times I've heard it is one of the reasons why I'm like, I feel like I want to be genuine, and I feel like saying like, you came to the show, bye, like that will always like ache for me to people like to wait and want to say hi. But at the same time, going back to what I said, like I'm not an extroverted person.
Right.
So while it is that you can want to do that, like when I used to do shows with Bo, when I used to open for Bo Burnham, like he would do meet and greets for like, I think like an hour after the show. And then after that hour, they cut off. Yeah.
Yeah, just for your own personal health. It's like you can't be out there for 4 hours shaking hands.
Absolutely, because if you do 3 shows in a day or 2, and meet and greets afterwards, instead of performing for an hour each of those, it feels like 4 hours rather than 2, or 6
See,
rather
for
than
me,
3.
I think I would want to do unplanned, just kind of go out there, because for me, I only want to go out there if I crush. If I even do okay, if it's one of those sets where I'm like, that was all right, I'm like, I'm going to stay in the green room. I only want to go out there if I'm a rock star and people are going to be like, you're incredible. And girls are going to be throwing themselves on me. If I do like whatever, I'm staying in the green room. I'm canceling. That's just, I think, I don't know if that's possible as a headliner, but that's what I want to do. Because I know a lot of times the club will ask you, hey, are you going to do a meet and greet? They ask you beforehand.
Yeah.
But I want to say to them,
I'll
we'll
tell
see.
you. Yeah, I'll tell you.
We'll see how I'm doing up there.
Yeah, Ari never did it. He ultimately went with no at the end of the weekend. Oh, man, that's so funny. Yeah, that's the way I feel. Because
if they deserve the meet and greet, you know what I mean? Were you a good enough audience? If you weren't that good, you don't deserve to meet me. But then it's like I'm excited to meet them. Dude, you were a great, you're hilarious. Be like, you're a great audience too. But if you do okay, then they're like, you were pretty funny, and be like, yeah, fuck you. I don't even want to be here right now. I told the club I would meet you, but I don't want to.
I've done meet and greets where I didn't know the features, and they did meet and greets, and they would like sell merch, and that's totally cool. But they would like sell merch but it would be like right after, so like the people would like, they would be like, and then like they would like almost like interject a little bit, where it was just kind of like I appreciate that you're here, and I'm sure that they're happy as well. But it's one of those things where like when a feature gets too like
they want the adulations too much, and you're like, hey, it's my show.
It's not even just that. It's just like adulation's great, but it's just like they want to, like, they get too like, yeah, so like cutting conversations off, where it's just like,
right.
yeah, and also I have like CDs too, so if you like, it gets to be like,
or even if your feature's selling merch and then you're staying right after his merch table, so then they almost think you're going to be that salesman, because they're hacking merch because they need it.
Yeah.
They need the money, and then you're after that, so they pass a merch table, then they just want to get out because they don't, it's uncomfortable. It's like someone on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
You don't want to. You don't trust anyone out there.
It's just one of those things where it's like I have no issue with like a feature like selling merch or anything, and that's why like oftentimes I'll bring a lot of my features, so like they can the exchange is, if you help me sell mine, I'll cover like whatever, so you would you know, and then but I've worked a few times where guests have been like uncomfortable, where they're just like, I don't like, and I always try to want to avoid that. For me,
if I'm not helping the headliner sell merch, and I want that, and I do want to meet the people because I had a great set or something, and I'm like, oh, it'd be a good opportunity to maybe get some followers or whatever, I'll stand. Like, after they meet the headliner, I'll stand in the corner, and then if they want to come talk to me, they have to come awkwardly tap me on the shoulder and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'll do that.
I used to do that when I was featuring too, where I'm just like tucked away somewhere.
Yeah, I'll be like standing in the corner with a drink in my hand.
Yeah.
And then that way I'm just not, I'll let the headliner do their thing.
How often do you feel good after you get off stage?
Well, so in
9 out of 10?
Des Moines, I was really happy with 2 out of the 4 shows. I didn't bomb any of the shows.
Sure,
and I didn't get heckled, but both the early shows, I was like, that was okay, but I felt like I had to work for it.
Yeah.
But both the late shows, I walked off feeling like a rock star.
That's great.
Like, that was fun.
Friday's late and Saturday's late.
Yeah.
Friday's late is like, that's the black ball. Like that one. Like
7 o'clock shows.
Usually in my experience, like Friday late shows are the drunk crowd and they're rowdy, and that can go one of two ways.
Yeah, exactly. Either it's a fun rowdy or it's too much.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit on the edgier side.
Right.
So sometimes those 7 o'clock shows, it's typically older people, and they're a little less on. It's just a little more work.
Gotcha.
They don't give it up quite as much. They're typically the polite, smiley crowd. And I want someone who's loose.
So you'd say about half the times for you.
At least this last week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It just kind of depends. But this last weekend I liked 50% of the shows. I was really stoked about.
That's pretty cool.
What about you?
Oh, none of them. Almost.
No, come on.
No, I'm not shitting you. It is rare I come off stage feeling good.
So they need to be that special crowd where you're like, that was awesome.
Like we did. I think we did 7 shows in Arizona, and the last one, Sunday. Well, they were all like fun, but only the last one was one that I felt good about, and that
At
was
least it
because
ended on that one.
yeah, and that was I think because there were things that I was saying that was like also kind of like surprising me a little bit, and that's kind of what
You were loose.
invigorates the joy of it.
Oh, got it. So you get bored when you're doing the same set over and over again.
But like it's like when you're working on tape, like you're trying like that. There's just this element of just like the rigidity where you're just like hit this mark, say this thing, and do this because that's what they want when they're watching tape. But then when like it's also this conflicting thing because you don't get into this because you want to hit like a mark and play by the rules and do all the
Right.
So it's a thing that's kind of like it wasn't like I wasn't doing the set that I was what I was doing on the rest of the weekend, but Sunday just kind of I guess I just kind of felt like that was fun.
Now, do you miss full capacity shows, or are you enjoying these 40% capacity ones? Because for me, it was like, it's not quite as electric of a room.
Sure.
But it's also definitely felt a little lower pressure than when the room's fully packed out.
Yep. Yeah, I think I completely agree with that. Yeah. And there's this sense of like, we're all in this universal thing right now. We kind of understand the circumstances, so we're willing to be a little more forgiving for what's happening. You know what I mean? At the 40% or the half, and some are half capacity, some have partitions up, like they've got like little plexiglass. So
yeah. Oh, I won't do those.
Yeah.
I got tricked into one. ACC in San Diego was doing the plexiglass shows, or in the Comedy Store does those window shows. I did it once at the Comedy Store window. I was like, never doing that again. Went to ACC. It was a plexiglass show, and they didn't tell me that before they booked me. So I get down there and I was behind the window. Like even like I'm excited to be opening for you this weekend. By the way, you should plug that on at the Irvine Improv. I'm hosting for you. Doing that. Parking lot shows, but even that I'm really dreading.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too.
I'm just the parking lot aspect of it.
It's going to be fun for us only because we're going to be there with each other.
Exactly.
That was fucking
if that was like a gig where I was driving to and didn't know anyone, I'd be like, oh god.
Yeah, I don't miss that either. The long drive homes after you bomb, and I had a lot of those from San Diego too when I used to do like the mics and stuff.
Oh my gosh, because then you're just thinking about it in your head. But even when you kill, it's weird too because then you're driving home and you go from this like high to I'm just alone in my car, and this is kind of sad.
So I just do this every week, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns very quickly.
What is your current goals? Because in my mind, you're killing it. You've done you're headlining. You've been on TV. You got a big fan base. What is there anything else in your head? You're like, man, I really want to achieve this in my comedy. Or
I really feel just like and this is gonna sound so shitty. I feel like I haven't done anything. Like, and that sounds so dumb. Like there's people who are just like there's other comics who are just like, fuck you, probably. but I just feel like I want a special. I want.
You don't have a special?
No.
I thought you did for some reason.
That's okay. And I want I want a TV show. And
gotcha.
And I think that's because, I moved out here for acting, and then to end that way as well would be nice to come full circle.
Be awesome.
And I think I'm not very good at advocating for myself, but I think a forte of mine is dialogue, like writing like script and dialogue, and I really love that. And so like developing characters and like character development, developing like arcs of characters and arcs of stories and like things like that, and like putting it into dialogue, I really kind of like. So at the end of whatever, if I could ever get any of those other
special
things,
and TV show. I think for sure both of those things are going to happen.
I appreciate that.
Special, you could make happen yourself.
Sure.
And it's almost better now. Like,
sure.
If it wasn't Netflix offering $1 million, I think the next best thing is just putting it out on YouTube yourself.
Yep.
So
that's I know Mark had done that.
Right now. Yeah.
Sam had done, Morel had done that, and like there's a couple people doing that, and it's like I've cultivated this presence from just posting shit myself anyway. So the idea that there is like this do-it-yourself mentality that's out there, but it is a little bit of this validation of just being like, no, see, like I wanted to have that could go to a platform that has like a different and diverse audience as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people might have, I would say it's so few people have still know me now necessarily from America's Got Talent. Like, you might know me from that, but I would say the larger part of it has been all the stuff that I did afterwards, just online and all the other stuff, which is truer to the way I actually think, and I guess isn't so much like the PC or maybe even younger version of whatever that was and how people might have been introduced. So yeah. But those are kind of like my goals, but it's just, there's this weird part of, and tell me if you feel the same way, but LA kind of comes with this, prior to the pandemic, I would say LA kind of comes with this pressure to just be like, if you aren't working on what it is that you're out here to be working on, then it's waste, then like you're lazy or and that I think also plays into why it is I haven't developed hobbies or I haven't done it's almost just guilt, and it's not a full life, and it's not one that's like, dude, like you're going to get to wherever you get to, and then you're going to have like, that empty space where you're just like, oh, I could have done like I could have done pickup dodgeball.
I definitely have that constantly, that feeling, but I don't think it's LA for me. It's just not having a boss. You're your own boss.
Yeah.
So when you're not working on something, you feel guilty because it's not like a job where you're like, I show up to work and I do my 8 hours and then I've fulfilled my commitments. You're like, well, when is it enough?
Yeah.
And then also when you meet your goals, you realize they instantly don't make you happy, which is also a sad thing about comedy.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, all I want to do is go on the road, and once I'm doing that and making a living, I'll be happy. And then you do that and you go, oh wait, no, I need a headline. I need to get on Conan. And then you do Conan. And you go, oh, that didn't make me happy. I've never done Conan, but that example, you do these things, and as soon as you do them, you realize, oh, that didn't bring me what I thought it would bring me.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of that. So you keep going and pushing yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
And I mean, and you're right, because it's just, I've been in those places where I'm like, I want this thing, and then I'll get this thing, and then it carries you for just a little bit. And it's just this outside validation, which is big in part as to why a lot of us do this in the first place. But it's just that outside validation where you're just like, okay, that kind of filled me for like a little bit, but those have been big, goals of mine, and like kind of like the long-term ones. So I just feel like at the very least I could like settle myself for a minute, just being like, look, you worked so hard and you lost a lot of your health and friendships, and like you've lost things, and it wasn't not for naught, because you're playing this game with yourself always that's like, okay, either other people are crazy or I'm crazy, and you don't want to find out that they're right at the end.
I think those things are also, even if they don't bring you every ultimate, I'm sure if once you do those things, you're going to have new goals for yourself, but those things are so creative and rewarding. I mean, writing a TV show, you finish it and you're like, I made that. It's a piece of art.
Yeah.
So, and same thing with a special. It's like, wow, I did that. I toured with that for 2 years, and now it's on, there it is. So those things are big accomplishments.
Yeah. And I would say the pandemic has like brought, I don't know how it was for you, but brought a lot of perspective on, 2019 was such a year where I was gone like 280 days of the year. Like
wow.
You can come stay at my place if you ever, or if you ever need like literally.
You could Airbnb it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's in the lease that you can't, but it's like, I'm just not even there, but like I was going so hard. And then when the pandemic happened, I did experience this thing of just like, oh, I don't have anything. I don't do anything. I don't have anything.
Yeah.
I smoked a little bit and did yoga. I called it smoga, and I did it for hours. I loved it.
You got into weed.
Yeah. Just a little bit. A little bit. Of hobbies, I would say like I'm very much kind of like Theo, where it's like I'll meditate in the green room. I meditate every day, and then some yoga. But even still, those are all selfish like performance incentives for me to be like, I do those things so I can go beat the shit out of myself on stage and hate myself afterward. Like, it's crazy.
Sometimes those are the best things. Is there anything in your life that there's a therapy show? Is there anything in your life that I could help you with? Any issues?
Oh man.
I'm really smart. I'm 2 years older than you.
You've got like so much more
I'm
experience.
just so wise. Yeah.
Oh man, I would say okay. Here's how do you make friends? Like, what's your approach
Ooh.
for making friends? This is a great one.
So I struggle with this too. I mean, I do have friends, but you know, I definitely have certain times in my life where I think I should have more friends. Like, I don't have enough friends.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not a very outward guy as well. I'm pretty keep to myself, that type of guy for sure. So for me, the only way that I can meet both women and friends in real life is to kind of be a part of something. So whether that means getting a job, taking a class, a club, things where you're forced to talk to people.
Right.
I can't go to a bar and talk to someone.
Yeah, same.
I can't approach a woman at a grocery store or a gym. I can't go to a comedy club and make friends with a random guy even most of the time, unless it's like we're on 10 shows together, so we're forced to talk to each other, then we become friends, or we were in that writing class together at UCB or that acting class, something like that. So the best way that I would say for you to make friends is to get a hobby and take a class for it, something like that. Take a yoga class, you know, take a pottery class, take a writing class, something.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Yeah. But that's so I've always known that about myself, but even knowing that, I still don't do it because I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to go every week to that commitment of a thing. But now that I can't do it because of COVID-19, that I'm like, I couldn't go take a class and meet people if I wanted to.
Right.
I'm going to do it. As soon as everything's back open, I'm going to sign up for a class of some sort.
So it's like forcing yourself a little bit.
Yeah. It's like, it's like going to the gym.
Uncomfortable.
No, not that many people really like going to the gym. You got to be, okay, let's do the gym. It'll be good. Then I don't feel guilty. I think the same thing goes with class. You end up, every class I have taken in LA, I've always met one person out of it that's become a friend, and I've always gotten something out of it when I look back.
Right.
Like all the people I know, I'm like, oh yeah, that was worth it. But you still kind of don't want to do it.
Right. That makes sense. That's a great answer.
Yeah, but it's also different because you're famous. So you're like, who is this person my friend, or they want something from me? Have you experienced that? Has anyone, like, as you've risen in success, do people come out of the woodwork asking you for things?
Sometimes, yeah. I had a friend who he asked me for money, but I've known him for a long time. I've worked with him, and he asked me for money, and from friends, or I guess even people I know, like I'm very I didn't even think twice about it. I was just like, of course, you know, like but I would like to believe that people are good intention, so you know, that they don't have, like, that they're not going to, like, screw me over, or that they maybe would pick up from the fact that I'm genuine, or that I'm pretty transparent, that they would hopefully not be that way. So
I think overall, yeah, but there's still those slime balls.
I know. It sucks too. It sucks because you would think that it's pretty rare, but I guess
we live in a city full of them.
Yeah, that's true.
But okay, that's good. So overall, you haven't had people really.
I mean, like, managers and people I've worked with in the past who've been kind of shitty, but in a way that, like, I think they might have taken advantage of the fact that I was kind, and that's kind of a shitty thing. And I've worked with other people in the past who they did, like, you know, shitty things, and sometimes and as you're fully aware, like, you would like to think that people aren't, like, jealous, or people aren't, like, envious, or that they're your friends, and that their successes you're actually happy for, and vice versa. But it's not always the case.
Yeah,
it's
there's
not always
people
the
out
case.
there that are so unhappy that they take it out on people with success.
Yeah, and I always try to turn the attention towards myself. Like, I'll always try to be like, if I see something that someone else gets who, like, I know, or we started, or whatever, I am genuinely happy for them. But if I ever get to this place where I'm like where I'm wondering, like, why it is I'm not further along or whatever, I turn it very much to myself to be like, all right, well, what is it that you could be doing? Yeah. Right. What is it that you could be improving? And that's an important distinction, because I am genuinely happy for a lot of, for all the people who have, like, a thing or get a thing. Like, I think it's such a creative and cool, it's a cool idea knowing that we can all kind of have our own different paths. It used to kind of be more textbook and more like you do stand up, you go do the road, and then you get on Comedy Central and then you tour. Like it kind of felt like that for a while. And
Right.
now everyone's trajectory is different. And I think that's like fascinating. Like even somebody like Theo is someone who's like his arc has not been like boom. It was like he had like a little bit of these, and like he had to kind of find his way to getting to where it is that he is.
Absolutely. I'm the same way. I always think to myself, what can I be doing? What can I be creating or making to better myself? That being said, I'm happy for people, but I do get jealous. I'll see people with something, I'll be like, man, I would love that. I'm so jealous of that guy. But yeah, it's not from a place of bitterness
Malice,
or hate where I'm like, fuck that guy.
Right.
I should have that, not him.
Right.
I'm just like, oh man, I need to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Yeah, which is good. It's a motivating tool as well. So
But yeah, there's I wanted to tell you about what happened to me last night.
sure.
So me and Abby and I started this podcast studio here that we.
It's very beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I record my podcast here. We also rent out this space.
Oh, nice.
$50 an hour, which no longer, but as of last night, it was $50 an hour to rent this space where we don't have to be here. That's just like to rent it, like a pure space type of thing.
Sure.
They can rent space. This guy books it. I have that little security camera right there.
Oh, nice. Oh, I've seen
Yeah.
those. Those are like the Ring. They're similar to like
Yeah,
the,
that's like a Chinese clone of that.
nice. But
And-
but none of that footage that angle won't be in this.
No.
Okay.
Well, it could be kind of a cool little cut to the shitty security camera, like periodically, but that's not a bad idea. But so I'm watching. Sometimes I check in. If I have time, I check in always when someone's renting the space.
Yeah.
And they're like 30 minutes into their rental. That door is open, the front door, and rap music is blasting in the room. So in my head, I'm like, that's common sense not to go to a business and do that when there's neighbors and they're in a building. So I text them and I go, hey, can you turn down the music and close the front door, please? And he goes, okay, for sure. Does it. Then I'm like, okay, I watched them. They did it. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, that I shouldn't have had to tell them to do that, but okay, people are dumb. They weren't thinking. I check in 2 hours later. Luckily, there's like 10 o'clock at night at this point. So most of these places are closed. There's no one here. I look at the camera. There's 10 people in here. Music is blasting. They're smoking a bubbler. There's bottles of alcohol passed around. Someone has a dog. They're like there's pizza. They're straight up having a party right here. And at this point, I'm freaking out. I'm like, not just because, there's so many thoughts running through my head. I'm like, why would someone do this in general, this behavior? How does anyone think this is okay to go into someone else's space and treat it like this?
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking, what if I'm going to get evicted from this building now, this space that I put 100 hours into with a friend? What if we get kicked out now because of these people? I'm thinking they're probably not going to pay me for sure. They might damage our equipment. They might steal our equipment. I don't trust anything at this point. So I'm literally like shaking in anger. This is last night at 10 p.m. And so it's just I'm still kind of like high from it. I'm shaking in anger. I call my friend, like, we got to go over there. We got to shut them down. And he looks at the security camera and it's like 10 big ghetto black dudes. So we're both like, they're going to want to fight us. We're just scared. We're like two guys going in there hostile. Like, they're going to want to fight. Let's just call them and tell them to calm down and that they got to go. So we call them and they're like, oh yeah, we got one more podcast to wrap up and then we'll be out of here. We're like, okay, let's just let them leave. That's going to be easiest rather than go in there and start shit. So we're like, okay, check in 2 hours later. Now it's midnight or 1 in.the morning. They're still here partying. So I'm like, okay, at this point I have to go shut this down.
Yeah.
Or, I can't wait till morning so I get here last night. It's literally after 2 a.m. And we come up the back stairs, open the door, instantly could hear them, and this whole floor smells like weed. Just reeks of weed, and I'm just like,
That's why you asked me if it smelled like weed in here. Okay, yeah.
So the whole floor smells like weed. We go in there. I come in here in this room. It's filled with people. And I'm like, hey, the owners are coming right now. You guys got to wrap it up. Unfortunately, there's no dogs. There's no weed smoking. None of this is okay. You guys are breaking a lot of rules. You'd think he'd be like, I'm caught, and I'm gonna shut it all down. Instead, he's shit-faced. I should start there. The guy who's running their show is shit-faced. He goes, oh, you guys are all racist. You're shutting us down because you're racist. And I'm like, no, I'm not racist. This is just not okay. And he goes, yeah, whatever. You don't know what you're missing out on. We got millions of followers, and we would have done so much for your business, and you fucked up. He goes, you poor piece of shit. Look at your shoes. You're poor. I'm gonna rent the place. And at this point, I'm just like, oh my God. I'm just like, okay. I'm just trying everything. Like, this guy could kick my ass, and I want to fight him so bad. Yeah. And I'm just holding it in so bad. I'm like, yep, time to leave, guys. They leave. This place is a shit show. I spent like 2 hours cleaning. I'm up till 4 a.m. cleaning, getting ready. And also in the back of my head, I'm like, I might have to cancel my interview with Drew tomorrow. I might have to cancel my podcast. It's fucking me over in so many ways. Mm-hmm. But cleaned it all out. Got it. It ended up not being that bad. Never gonna obviously book them again. Yeah. I'm gonna increase the price. People have to prepay now. It was a learning lesson. Wow. But I wanted to vent that because that was just still on my mind.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that was my night last night.
That's a terrible thing. I mean, I never thought you were racist.
No, and if I am, they didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean,
they can't call me that.
I know it now. Yeah. But I feel like that sucks. I think that goes back to like, we're talking about, are people good? Like, do people do the right thing? And the idea is always just like, if I were to rent something and like a space that I think is like, is this beautiful? Like, this is a premium
effort
space.
Went in. You look into it, you go, okay. Yeah. There's a lot of expensive stuff here.
It's clean. It's nice. Like, I would always the idea is just that common courtesy of just like, you leave it better than you found it. Yeah. Right. But I mean, that sucks. I mean, I would have no idea that happened here. It's like when someone dies in a house. You're just like, you got to do everything to make sure no one.
I literally, at the end of the night, it was all back to normal, and I'm like, this place feels tainted to me now.
It feels so different.
I said that to my friend. I was like, this place is like, ugh.
It feels so different for you than it does.
Yeah, it's like knowing that someone fucked in your bed.
Yeah.
And you could change the bed sheets, but for a while you're just like, oh, should I get a new mattress? Should I move? Yeah.
Wow, that sucks, man. That so wait, but they ended up paying for the whole space.
I don't think they will. We're definitely going to send them an invoice, but I have a feeling, by the time he's leaving, he's shit-faced. He might not even remember. Yeah. But he's like, well, I'm not paying. He's like, I'm going to come back here with boys and we're going to fuck up this place. Like, he was making threats. He was just making a scene. His friends were even like, they knew I was in the right. Yeah. They knew that everyone else felt like they had been caught. They obviously knew that the hall smelled like weed and that was not okay in this office building. Yeah. So they were all like, hey, let's just go. They were trying to calm him down. Let's go. These guys are just doing their job. It's all good. They apologized to me, like, sorry. But at the same time, I'm not accepting their apology that night because I'm just livid pissed. I'm like, if you're sorry, then why would you have done this? Yeah. Why would you come in here and party in a space where you don't know whose space this is?
Yeah, I don't think that they will pay either.
I don't either.
They don't seem like the invoice type. Yeah. The idea that you said.
I'm definitely not expecting. I'm definitely going to send them the invoice, but I'm not expecting anything. I'm just hoping, maybe he was drunk and he wakes up and he goes, I feel bad. I'm going to pay. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. But no, it's not. I used to Airbnb my apartment. Mm-hmm. For a couple of years. That's how I was paying my bills. Whenever I would go on the road and feature, I was able to make money because I would Airbnb my apartment and stuff like that. So I've dealt – it reminded me of those days because over 9 out of 10 times, people are great. They come, they stay in your place, they leave you a good review, they leave it somewhat clean. You have a maid go in there, you clean up after them a little bit. Things are good. But every once in a while, you get back and they're still there. Yeah. And you're like, oh, why do I have to deal with? Why are people like this? And you go in there, and the place reeks of weed, and they shat on your couch. And
yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. I mean, just differences of people, I guess. Like, and there's a certain element of trust, and I don't know that I have it. I don't know that I have that to be able to be like, I can trust a person to
it
do
makes
the
your
right
guard
thing.
up. It puts your guard up, and then it's like you don't. The next people who come in now, I'm weary of them, and it's nothing they did. It's the people before them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, anything you want to plug?
I have a podcast, and you could rent out the studio. No, my podcast is called Did I Stutter, and I just do that every week. And but that's pretty much it. Like, this has just been a
Did I Stutter? It's on your YouTube and iTunes and everywhere.
Yeah. But this has just been cool to just hang out and stuff. I mean, it's almost like we should have done the show on Saturday and then done the podcast so we could have talked about it. Because it'll be different. This was great. Oh no, this was so much fun. But I just mean like that added thing of like we just came back.
Have you done that Irvine show before?
No,
I have.
Have you?
Not obviously like this where I've hosted, but I've done the showcase version of it. Not at Irvine, but a different drive-in show. And I know people have done the Irvine one.
Can you explain it?
And it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
I think they're your fans.
Because I don't know what it is. My agent was just like.
So I think it pays pretty good, at least for a host. Like, I'm getting paid $250 to host it, so that's pretty good for a host.
Way better than
We're like, I'm getting $100 to headline. So I'm sure you're getting paid decently, so that's good. I think they're your fans, obviously, and I think they're going to enjoy seeing you, and it's a unique element, so I think they're going to have fun.
Yeah.
But from a comics perspective, we're up on stage.
This is outside.
Outside,
Right.
which there's some fun outside shows. I've done some fun outdoor shows. That's okay. And we're in a pandemic. I get it. It's not going to be normal in California, the most liberal cuck place in the world.
Yep.
But it's rows of cars that you're performing to. They have like the FM, kind of like a drive-in movie theater.
Right.
They have you blasting through their speakers in their car. But their cars, they're in their cars.
Right.
So it's performing to no one.
Yeah.
We're not going to hear shit.
Yeah. So
maybe they'll honk sometimes, but it's like it's delayed. It's not.
So a little bit like a Zoom show.
A little bit like a Zoom show, except you're for sure going to bomb.
Yeah.
If you're not bombing, it's going to feel like you're bombing. Even if you're killing, it's going to feel like you're bombing.
Sure.
For the most part.
That's great.
So it's going to be a rough one.
I can't wait.
And like, I only have to do 10 minutes or something, 15 minutes, whatever I'm doing. You're headlining, so I don't envy you. But
I'm gonna burn through my material so fast. It's gonna be so fast.
Yeah, you could just keep saying, pause for whatever's happening in your car. Are you laughing? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh man, we're both doing 10 minutes. It's just you're like, it's just you don't have to flounder for 40.
Oh man.
Wow.
So it's definitely won't be as good as Phoenix was.
That's okay.
I don't think.
It'll be fun.
But it's just one show, and we'll be in it together.
Yeah. And then the next day,
Amy Miller's featuring. She's funny.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah. And the next day is the Super Bowl. That's all I'm thinking about in my head. I'll just be like, I just get to watch the Super Bowl tomorrow. Who cares?
Yeah. Hey, it's good to humble yourself.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, just brace yourself. Yeah.
This will be I think it'll be humbling, but it'll be,
Yeah, well, things go well for you like half the time, so this is
you're
going
once
in
you
pretty
put
good.
in the car gigs, it drops that down to half of that.
Oh, it's so funny.
Thanks for doing my podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. I had so much fun. Yeah.
All right, see you next time.
You're listening to Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Mannis.
That was the episode. You guys like it? I liked it. There were some ups and downs, some slower moments, some good moments, but we're both awkward dudes. And that was a real conversation between two real people. So why don't you think about that before you judge me in my podcast? What do you think about my new green wall? I like it. Add some color to the studio. I think chicks are going to like it. So that's why I did it. This is the new plant wall. Got them from Home Depot. Cost $200 in just not including labor. Because I didn't pay for the labor because we did it ourselves. But $200 worth of fake plants behind me during a pandemic. I'm spending $200. Yeah, that's the kind of guy I am. Thank you for listening to the episode. Please subscribe if you haven't already to the YouTube. Apple Podcasts, maybe subscribe on there. Leave me a review on Apple Podcasts would be very helpful. I sell t-shirts at arimannis.com for the podcast and a children's book if you have kids. Yeah, I'm just plugging myself more. I'm going to be aggressive. Shit. Maybe I'll make an OnlyFans or a Patreon. Who knows? If I'm spending $200 for a podcast, you could subscribe to my OnlyFans. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.